Taoiseach, in recent weeks, workers at Glen Dimplex in Portadown have been on strike for a pay increase of 27p an hour. It's ironic in a bitter way when you consider the fact that one of their bosses is Martin Naughton, a billionaire, ranked only 10 days ago by the Irish Independent as the 11th richest man in Ireland. The 27p increase would bring these workers up to £8.70 an hour, in other words, the official UK poverty line. Now, here in this state, workers' wages are nothing to write home about. We have hundreds of thousands of working people earning less than the £11.90 living wage rate. Now, the programme for government talks about reducing poverty levels by increasing the minimum wage to €10.50 over a period of 5 years. Will you agree with me, Taoiseach, that this plan, already inadequate from the get-go, has been overtaken by the skyrocketing cost of accommodation, and that next year, in conclusion, that rather than keeping the minimum wage below the €10 mark, it should in fact be increased to the living wage rate as a minimum?
Taoiseach.
The programme for government, Deputy, doesn't talk about reducing poverty. The government is reducing poverty, and you only need to look at the CSO's numbers under the Survey of Income and Living Conditions to see that's the case. And the budget that we just agreed in this House, which I know you'll probably vote against, further reduces poverty, in fact. And we have the confirmation from the SRI and the switch model doing that. So this government, led by Fine Gael involving independents, is taking action across pay, tax and welfare to reduce poverty. Your party is voting against that. So let's make sure everyone knows that basic fact. In terms of the minimum wage will rise to €9.80 in January. It will be the 4th increase in the minimum wage in the past 5 or 6 years, and that is being done on the recommendation of the Low Pay Commission, which takes everything into account. The calculations that are done when it comes to the living wages, don't take into account the fact that people have different circumstances and don't listen to employers. And we always need to bear in mind, when it comes to setting the rate for the minimum wage, we need to balance the needs to pay people a decent wage with any impact that it may have on unemployment. And you mentioned Portadown in particular. Bear in mind, along the border counties, employers and people compete for jobs and compete for work with people just over the border in Northern Ireland, where salaries are much lower. We always have to bear that in mind. We're putting the minimum wage up, we're doing it in such a way that increases people's pay, but doesn't threaten their jobs.
Thank you, Taoiseach. Deputy Michael Lowry.